Broads Media.
Not the way I wanted to see the series finish out. We'll talk about it all. Before we do, though, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate your support. You could take me on the road with you. That's right. Scary thing to think about, but a beautiful sound. It's beautiful to the ears. If you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Pods, you can leave a 5-star rating and a review, Sports Talk with Broads. Search it on those platforms. Can't thank you all enough for that as well. And lastly, if you want to join the memberships here on YouTube, for $4.99 a month, you get access to Coffee with Broads live streams every Monday and Thursday morning at 11 a.m. And you also get access to our Discord channel. The links are down below in the description. You guys are the greatest in the world. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the show. This team never dies, that's for damn sure. I actually thought that they were going to squeeze this one out in the 9th. A broken bat double play, a 2-3 double play to end it. Nick Castellanos, it's just crazy. It's absurd. What a shame. You know, it's annoying for sure. I'm a little upset about it, no doubt. It bothers me, but it's not the end of the world. It sucks. You should be leaving London with a sweep with 2 dubs. No matter if Major League Baseball counts this as a series or not. If you would have took both, it's a series. If you end up splitting, well, then it's not enough games to be a series. That's how my brain works. We'll get into the broadcast, which I thought sucked. I thought the Fox broadcast sucked. I thought the ESPN broadcast sending their second team, not acceptable. The Yankees, Dodgers getting all the love nationally when you're supposed to be growing the game and putting this on the biggest stage with the biggest lights. I thought it was trash, but guess what? The outcome of the games are what's more important, and it's a shame because game 1, the Phillies were in control. Bryce Harper has a huge moment with the light shining bright, and there was no doubt in game 2 when he stepped up to the plate in the 9th that he would make something special happen as well. Now, it wasn't a walk-off 3-run slam. It happened to be a smoked ball to the outfield, which loaded the bases and gave Bohm an opportunity, who ended up walking to make it a 1-run game. And once again, that double play, broken bat. Now, was it the most preferred at-bat in the world? No, not necessarily. On an 0-2 count, he ends up hacking at a fastball cheese that's 7 feet above the zone, hanging on for dear life. And, you know, it is what it is. But Nick has been red hot and scorching as of late, whether it was the walk-off not too long ago, whether it was the home run not too long ago, whether it was all the doubles not too long ago. And by the way, he had an infield single which created spark in game 2 here, even though they lost. He ended up having a massive run to give them a nice lead there before Rob Thompson made some poor managerial decisions to screw it up by going to Gregory Soto after Taiwan Walker had probably his best performance of the season with a healthy, fresh pen. You know what Matt Strom is capable of doing, right? You know what Jeff Hoffman is capable of doing, right? And I'm aware that Jose Alvarado pissed away the W anyway in the 9th with the 4-3 lead after Rob Thompson made up for his poor decision by making a great decision, pinch hitting David Dahl, who goes yard and pimps it too. The second he stroked the bat, the second he made contact with the ball perfectly on the barrel, he knew that thing was flying. So good for you, David Dahl. Rob did make up for it, but still, I mean, seriously, when you have a 3-run lead and it evaporates, to give Jose Alvarado more wiggle room than just 1 run would have been lovely. It could have got him out of the game sooner, still would have had the lead, could have went to a different arm. So Soto just made 0 sense there, regardless if Alvarado had a chance to shut it down with the 1-run lead or not. If it was a 4-run game, a 3-run game, well, then you recognize you can't go 30-plus pitches with Alvarado. We don't have to wait for a hit by pitch. Bases are loaded. Nobody's out. Alec Boehm on the third baseline tries to barehand the ball. Was there enough time to make a play for that specific ground ball anyway? I don't know. Probably not. It did seem like a tough one regardless, but the wild pitch or the pass ball, I think they actually labeled it the pass ball. It's annoying. It's annoying. I didn't think Rob handled that specific spot well, and that's where things sort of snowballed out of control. But yeah, I mean, Bryce Harper had the moment. He absolutely did in game one, sliding with the celebration. I wish they handled it with 2 dubs and they washed their hands nice and clean in London before they fly back to the United States and take on the Boston Red Sox on Tuesday. But it is what it is. It does ruin the vibes a little bit. It does ruin the good feels, right? Because the way Ranger battled his ass off and the way that he was able to get out of some jams in the first inning, in the 4th inning, in the 5th inning, you know, it was very special. And I thought Rob had a good pulse on when to yank him and go to Orion Kerkeren, who's throwing triple digits, going to Sir Anthony Dominguez, who hasn't allowed a run since early May. All right, we're creeping our way into the middle of June, and Sir Anthony Dominguez seemed to be revived here, and that is a massive difference for your pen. So why Soto? You can get away with Kerkering and Sir Anthony, and I'm not saying get away as if that they're not capable of succeeding, but you had some fresh, real good, solid blood lined up for it to be an automatic, and you kind of ruined that for me a little bit. They did re-grab the lead, and you would think with a 1-run lead against the Mets, that should be enough with Alvarado, regardless of the context on how they got there. But I can't remove the context on how they got there because they had more runs and a bigger lead. You can't let a 3-0 lead go poof. You can't have it happen, especially when you shoot yourself in the foot. If the other team does something awesome and you tip your cap and there's nothing you can really do about it, similar to that final play, the catcher gets the ball, he tags home plate with his foot and makes a crazy throw over to first base. Sometimes you tip your cap. What are you going to do? There's a broken bat. What are you going to do? But when you clearly had better decisions to be made and you botch it, well, it's hard for me to swallow that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at with it. And it also ruins what I thought in game one, the 4th inning, after Bryce ties the game up 1-1. Bryson Stott had the at-bat of the entire weekend, right? I mean, with all the good stuff that went down, the best at-bat was a walk by Bryson Stott with 2 outs in a tie game. Sean Manaea, he's the one pitching for New York. You go down 0-2 with 2 outs. 0-2 with 2 outs, and you work your ass off to earn yourself a walk. You get on first base for free. What happens after that? Whit Merrifield fucking bomb. What happens after that? And Mundo Sosa with the bleeder in the right field. Now, Marte is lazy as hell, and I think I saw some of the Mets beat reporters saying that fly blowout in right field had about a 95% chance of getting caught. But Marte decided to ho-hum lackadaisical run his way over out in right field, which boned the Mets, typical Mets fashion. And this whole thing was typical Mets fashion. They think that they're going to win. They're up 6-4. Of course, here comes the Phillies showing some life in the 9th. They never go away, though. They always fight until the end, and that does matter. That is a part of their brand, and I do need to recognize that. But I do think it was super important for that 4th inning to go down the way that it did, thanks to Bryson Stott and his ability to really make you work, and it was special. Pache doubled. Kyle Schwarber ended up knocking him in. The list goes on and on. So it was incredible to see what happened on Saturday afternoon. I love the 10 a.m. Sunday start. Woke up, got a Dunkin' Donuts cup of coffee, went to my wife's uncle and aunt and uncles. We hung out by the pool. Brooklyn went in the pool for the first time. It's 10 a.m. They got a TV outside, so they're able to kind of go into the screened-in area, throw the game on, listen to it. It was so beautiful. And then I started to see the game slowly evaporate. I started to see the game slowly start to sort of slip away, but then they grab it back, but then they give it away, and then they have a chance to grab it back again, but they end up not being able to have enough. How ironic is this that I thought Rob Thompson, ironic, didn't have Taiwan Walker's back. Maybe this was revenge. Hey, Taiwan, I know publicly I said that I'm over the fact that you like to tweet, but here's my decision mid-game. You're going to get one of our worst relievers. Hey, you put a few guys on. You've been really sharp to that point, and he looked good. I mean, Taiwan Walker looked really, really good. I was like, wow. You're telling me that you go to London, Whit Merrifield's hitting a ding-dong. All right, Weston, Westfield, whatever the hell his name is, who ended up having a nice moment previously for the Phillies before he gets a crack at it. Their right fielder makes a big boy out in right field, tries to leap like he's Bryson Stott, elevates maybe 2 inches off the ground, bangs his body, I think breaks his kidneys, his ribs are broken, he's going down. So Weston gets robbed at the wall. You know, all these guys, David Dahl continues the hot streak. You go to London and guys you don't anticipate to thrive ends up thriving. I don't know, maybe there's something in the water. Maybe there's something in the time travel. Well, not time travel. It wasn't time travel, just a time zone change. I'm not sure. But Taiwan was in his bag, dude. In his absolute bag. And here's Rob Thompson. I don't forget. While, once again, the ironic part, while allowing Edmundo Sosa to sleep in and accidentally miss one of the workouts, cry, apologizing, and keeps him in the lineup. Now, how does that correlate? It doesn't. If you didn't hear, listen to Tim Kirchin on the broadcast talking about what happened, though.
And Sosa, of course, is the greatest guy in the world. Rob Thompson loves him. He was late for the workout here the other day because he overslept because his phone went out, and he came out to apologize to Rob Thompson, and he was crying, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm late."
Oh, my God. What are we doing here? What is this, high school? Your phone dies, you can't get to practice on time? That's crazy. And Rob says, don't worry about it. We'll keep you in the line. That's why they love Rob to death. But I did think Rob made a weird choice as well in the bases loaded ninth situation to take JT Realmuto out of the game and pinch run Garrett Stubbs. What if the game ended up going into the 10th? What if you tie the game and you lose JT Realmuto's bat? JT Realmuto is a hell of an athlete. JT Realmuto can run. That guy can move. Is it a no-brainer automatic? You're not plugging in a Rojas over at second base. And I'm not telling you Stubbs can't move, but I don't see the payoff. I don't think that JT is limiting you so much on the bases that you have to put speed in there to try and tie the game. And looking at the way he jogged off the field going back to the dugout, I wondered if there was maybe a little bit of aggravation going on. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. There's a lot of things here, though, with the Rob Thompson department. You know, this is a hysterical moment. When Bryce does the celebration of the soccer move, by the way, almost a disaster. It leaned more towards that wasn't really successfully done more than it was successfully done. Because if you watch his knees, they both stop in the dirt as he's trying to continue his slide. He could have fell forward and flopped big time and it just not have that same impact. He hung on. All right, he barely hung on. He did hold on, but it was closer to disaster than it was efficient with 2 thumbs up. If you go back and watch that replay, though, it's actually hysterical. Just watch Rob Thompson. This guy doesn't have one movement in his body. He doesn't make one facial expression. He just stares at him as if he has no idea what the hell even happened. And then when Bryce went into the dugout, he goes for a high five. But it's almost a perfect description of this team. The entire locker room or clubhouse or dugout is cracking the hell up. They're all smiling, giving him, taps on the helmet. They're in tears. They're loving every moment. Rob, stone face. Rob, zero emotion. Rob, nothing. Didn't even make a peep. I mean, in what world? Here's Bryce. The offense looks a little quiet. It looks a little dead. There's not that much juice with your offense. You're wondering, is really Sean Manaea going to end up tossing a gem today, or can we get some life going, please, with the offense? Bryce ties it up because he's always ready for big moments. He has this huge celebration, and Rob flatlining. Swear to God, I would have had to check his pulse. I would have had to put 2 fingers on his neck. I would have had to check every area of his pulse to see if he was even breathing. Nothing. But that describes exactly who Rob Thompson is, and it also describes who this baseball team is, to see the reaction of the teammates to Bryce and what he was able to do out there. But yeah, you know, it's just sort of one of those games. Still had a chance. They really did. I'm watching the replay right now of Nick Castellanos coming around to score after that single that he had, that little dribbler over to the third base line, and I'm surprised that he wasn't thrown out at home. Maybe something had to do with the turf and the way the ball was bouncing on the turf, because it was all over the place, and maybe that kind of screwed up the catcher and trying to play the hop. I don't know, but it could have been a bang play. Do I like applying pressure on the base paths and Dusty Wathan saying, we're going to force you to make a play, knowing that they aren't accustomed to playing on this field? Yeah, I guess that's fair, and it was super close of a play, and maybe you would have tipped your cap if they made an awesome relay happen, the New York Mets, that is. But you had a 3-0 lead, and I'm not really mad at the offense, even though there are some that are aggravated with the first inning, a double play, leaving someone on third, or even in the spot where JT Realmuto had bases loaded. There's no doubt about it, they could have tacked on more runs and maybe really punched the Mets below the belt and snag a 5-0 lead, a 6-0 lead, which would have absolutely opened the floodgates, especially with how game 1 went. You win 7-2, you beat them down so badly. For you to open up the floodgates so early, the Mets could go, uh-oh, here we go again, instead of thinking that there's a real sense of life that we could fight back into this one. No doubt it would have been nicer, but I can't remove Rob Thompson's thought process of Gregory Soto from my mind. Even with acknowledging they had a 1-run lead with one of their best bullpen players there, if you don't screw up the Soto situation, you have more room to work with the Alvarado stuff. So let's pretend it's 3-0 or 4-0 going into the 9th. You use Strom, you use Hoffman, you use, Alvarado to try and secure the dub, and you see that he's not on top of his game. There's a couple base runners on. There's no outs. You can yank him earlier. You can get more creative. You can get, a different situation out there. And against the Mets, I would have taken my chances that someone else could have been dialed in, and you could have executed from there. I didn't love it. And that sticks with me more than the David Dahl pinch hit, even though Rob did put him in that position for it to work out. The Soto thing was so bad. I mean, it was so bad. It was so fundamentally flawed that nothing else makes me feel good. Okay? That's just real. Before we get to the phones, here's my thoughts on the broadcast. What a joke. First off, the visual, just a random backdrop of something that says London series. I got zero feel of what it was like in the ballpark until the ball was actually hit in play. Seriously, just a random wall? Now, I don't know fully the dimensions of everything with the field that they were playing on, what they could have done differently, but I know for damn sure that was unacceptable. When I'm watching, it's just a wall. Like, just a wall. All right, let's get to Saturday afternoon's pregame show. Whoever came up with that should be fired today. Honestly, should have been fired the second it was brought up in a meeting, because that was a disgrace. This should be as big as the Winter Classic. When the Winter Classic in the NHL is on and it's New Year's Day, it's on prime time, NBC. You see the players walk out from the locker room. Flames are flying up. They have a long walk to get to the ice. You get a close-up of the goalie walking out with the awesome toque on the helmet. The players with the eye black. These motherfuckers had A-Rod, Derek Jeter, and Big Papi walking around in empty New York Yankee Stadium talking about Mariano Rivera. What are we doing? It's a joke. walking around showing the monument and Yankee. What are you do? Shut up! I don't care about Yankees Dodgers. So for the league to put this on the same weekend that Yankees Dodgers going on, that's problem number one. But even if you were to do it, you know what you do? Yankees Dodgers 4 o'clock. And or I guess with the time change, you figure it out. But I'm just saying, you find a way to make this the prime game. You send your A-team analyst to your A-plus big time. Let's grow the game series. That's what you do. You show me live coverage pregame on Fox. I don't care about MLB Network. It was on Fox. On Fox, you give me an hour pregame of people who were actually at the stadium, and you blow it out of proportion with the most outrageous London content you can find. That's how you do it. But if you want to schedule it on the same week as a Yankees-Dodgers matchup, fine. You make Yankees-Dodgers first, and then you make the big prime time slot. And what you do is during the Yankees-Dodgers game, because there will be a lot of eyes on it, and let's not act as if this is Baltimore versus Seattle. Okay, it was Phillies Mets, extreme markets as well. What you do is throughout the Yankees-Dodgers game, you promote. You're not going to want to miss this doubleheader. You're not going to want to miss what comes up next. So figure out the damn time zone crap, and you put this with the light shining bright. They botched the whole thing. ESPN sending the second team out there. Quite frankly, their second team might actually be better than their first team with Michael Kay, with Glanville, with Gertchen. I think that might be better than Perez and what they got out there in New York anyway. But what a joke. I mean, you can't botch that anymore if you even tried. That was a disaster by Major League Baseball. An absolute pitiful, disgusting, horrendous broadcast. Then they finally go to the game and they're trying to interview Francisco Lindor. Nobody can even hear. The microphones aren't working. It was trash. So that's how I felt about the broadcast, and ultimately it ruined the experience for me. What Major League Baseball did for the viewers, I think it looked awesome for everybody there, seeing the '08 guys. The Mets had their people there as well, from everybody who I know who did make the trip and scheduled it all out in advance, and they went and made this some big event for them and their family. Everyone said it was actually ludicrous, and Phillies jerseys walking the streets nonstop. It was packed and 90% Phillies fans. I'm sure it was phenomenal. But hey, I hate to break it to you, Major League Baseball. 95% of us are tuning in from home. 95% of us aren't flying to London to catch it in real time. So what we need is for you to put on a better product to make it feel special. It didn't feel special at all. It felt more like another game. And I can't do another game when it's supposed to be highlighted to this degree. I said, no way, ... How unlucky is that? Speaking about Nick Castellanos and his broken bat, I got this from Logan. It's not unlucky. There was a stupid dribbler in front of the plate. He wasn't going to wave at a slider outside of he was either going to do that or wave at a slider outside of the zone, and he could have grounded out into a double play. Casty is allergic to situational hit. He just had a walk-off the other day. He's been hitting doubles out his ass. He's been hitting home runs. I'm not telling you I'm living and dying with the very up and down Nick Castellanos by any means. But to say that he's allergic to some of these situations, he just had a walk-off. How much bigger can you get than a legitimate walk-off? Now, he failed on this one, but that's the sport, right? That's what makes Bryce Harper so special is it seems like he's always ready for the moment, but that's rare. In a sport where majority of the time you fail, for Bryce to always do something. It might not necessarily be the 3-run jack walk-off that we were all kind of hoping for, but it's a smoked ball into the outfield, and now it loads the bases for the next guy. Let's pass the baton, if you will, and let's move forward here. Sometimes it's that, but Bryce is always available for you, which is crazy. Nick just walked us off, and then today he had a chance to walk us off, couldn't. But Nick is playing extremely well right now. Is my point. It is what it is. Bobby says not unlucky. Castellanos just a horrible at bat. Absolutely expecting a double play here. Here's Jay Schmo. Not unlucky. It's Nick. Here's Brandon. Just a garbage hitter. Here's one. DFA Nick. That's so funny. Tom says, Casty is brutal. Just make contact. I don't know. I don't have that level of outrage. I don't have that level of outrage on Nick. He's not my favorite player in the world. I just recognize when things are going well for him and he has a rough one during a good stretch, I'm willing to give him some time to see if this nice stretch continues, because if he walks up to the plate his next at bat and hits a home run in Boston, then this nice life that he's bringing us is continuing. And I look at the total package, and obviously throughout a total package of a good streak, there will be some unfortunate at-bats. Is this an unfortunate at-bat during a hot streak, or are we starting to tumble again? And it is possible that we're starting to tumble again. I'm not ruling that out. I'm just not ready to automatically assume that it's the dip yet because, well, he is starting to perform right now. But anyway, let's go to the Anytime Hotline. Hear your reactions to what we saw. Let's do it.
Bro, it's Andy from Sarasota watching the Phillies in London. When is Rob Thompson going to realize that Taiwan Walker's good for about 5 innings and that's it? Every time he pitches, he goes 1 inning too far and just gets smoked. I'm kind of over Soto, but it is what it is. Looking forward to Phil's pulling this one out. Hopefully they win 6-3. See ya.
Well, unfortunately, they don't pull this one out, but I think it's interesting you bring in the Taiwan stuff. So previously this year, when Taiwan was actually performing well, he was pitching really good through 6, and then he was asked too much to go into the 7th. I have no problem. I mean, I'm telling you, no problem with the way Taiwan Walker was pitching for him to take the mound in the 6th. It's not egregious for Rob to do that. Bringing up Soto, though, is important. That was a mess. I mean, you're just playing with fire. There was no reason to even have the matches in your hand. You threw matches on gasoline. You didn't have to do that. You don't have to put Soto in that position. You have way better, more available options for you. It was just foolish for Rob. But just because Taiwan Walker in the 6th had a few base runners on, it would be stupid for him to yank him out of the 5th without seeing what the 6th was going to be like. That's just dumb, in my opinion. If Rob did that, I mean, what are we doing here, right? I just think that would have been silly. Taiwan pitched extremely well. He deserved the 6th inning. It's not as if his pitch count was anything crazy high. All right, it wasn't a super inefficient day. It was one of the best starts of the season for him. He was at 79 pitches when he got yanked at 5 2/3. So do the math on where he was after 5. In previous outings, he was hitting a wall in the 7th inning. This was 1 inning before. He had a track record this year. I'm not even dating back to previous seasons. This season where he was doing really good through 6. So I'm totally cool with giving him that ability, or giving him a chance to see if he has the ability to keep rolling. It was more along the lines of just choosing the wrong person to clean things up when eventually there was some traffic. That's sort of how I saw it. Let's go to Amadeo. I like the live calls.
Yep, and there's the wild pitch to give the Mets a 6-4 lead. Yeah, this game is over. They're definitely not coming back in the bottom of the 9th inning.
I don't like that. I don't like that take. I'll let you continue, Amadeo, but this team? You're saying this team is definitely not going to come back and win this game? Now, ultimately, they didn't. But come on, man. You know, like, look, I get it. During that time of seeing the wild pitch, I wasn't happy. I was mad. I was bothered. But I was never counting this team out, especially when they're playing the Mets. If it was the Dodgers or something like that, you don't feel good, fine. But even then, I'm not counting this Phillies team out ever. Not this team. No, you can't. As you saw, they won't go down without a fight. So I don't like that. I don't like that you're claiming the game's over and they're definitely not coming back in the bottom of the 9th. They didn't come back in the 9th, but they're definitely not, because it was 6-5 and it took a crazy double play broken bat for them to unfortunately come up small. So that's just how I feel. But I'll let you continue and get things off your chest.
Holy fucking shit. What a way to ruin this freaking amazing weekend of baseball in London. My God. Yesterday's win was absolutely fantastic. Bryce Harper was fantastic. The offense was fantastic. The pitching was fantastic. Like, seriously, and this game just completely sours it. I'm not going to let this, sour my mind on the team just in general. Games like this happen. They're the best team in baseball for a reason. But holy fucking shit. They lose in the most frustrating ways. They just do. It doesn't make any sense. this game, when Taiwan Walker actually gives you a good quality product from the mound, you failed twice with the bases loaded, which could have completely put the Mets out of the game. Yeah. You had bases loaded in the bottom of the first, no out. Alec Bohm, who has been terrible as of late. I'm going to be honest here. I love Bohmer. He's been terrible as of late. Grounds into a double play, which could have been way more. You had bases loaded, 2 outs with JT. He didn't do anything. And especially when you went up 4-3, you had a chance to add on some insurance. Nick Castellanos, 2 runners on. You didn't hit with runners in scoring position. But then the cream of the crop just goes to Rob Thompson. What is the thought process of bringing in Gregory Soto in a high leverage spot? What is the thought process? I understand you want to bring Soto into the game. Why not let one of your better relievers that are on rest days, and Strom, Hoffman, or even fucking Alvarado if you want to use them there, let those guys get out of the jam. Give Soto the clean inning. Unacceptable to bring Soto into that situation, completely throw off the momentum of the game and just win it in fully favor of the Mets. Completely full in favor right there.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I really do. I think that some fans are going to point to other areas in this one, and there's plenty of things to discuss, and you brought them up, and they're all fair. Bases are loaded. Could you get more run? The first inning. How many of us thought, oh, here we go, baby. This is even going to be a competition. 10 a.m., cup of coffee, chilling, relaxing. It's all she wrote, baby. You're going to hit him in the jugular and roll from there, right? I think we all felt so strong about it and go, really, 1 run? And then I was even convincing myself that, all right, if they have the double play, but they at least get an RBI, and then you're able to bring in the runner from third, so at least it's 2-0. It feels a lot better than 1-0. I'm sure the Mets are walking away back to their dugout going, whew, hey, we escaped 1. It could have been more of a crooked number. We'll take 2. But the Phillies are going, hey, we got 2. At least it's better than 1. And, you try and work yourself through that in the game. 2 would have felt a lot better there, but you can kind of point at a lot of different areas. The momentum switch was real, and the decision of Soto opened the door of possibility back up. I think that really gave the Mets some life that was a self-inflicted wound. When you do it yourself the way Rob did it, it makes it a lot harder for me to understand it. It really does. It makes me harder for me to run away from it. It makes me harder to dive into the other details of the action and point the blame there when this was so tragic. Not getting a hit with runners in scoring position, that's a part of baseball, right? Not hitting when you have guys on base, that's baseball. Bad managerial decisions are baseball for sure, but it's like a different version of it's baseball, if that makes sense. All right, we'll take one more, and then we'll kind of wrap things up.
That was a really tough one after a really good game 1. I really would have liked to see them pull that one out, but, I mean, the kind of really poor performance from Alvarado at the end of the 9th. Really bad play from Bohm. That's an unacceptable play with the bare hand. I don't know what he was thinking there. That is such a risky play. But to my call last week about Nick Castellanos, I'm not going to rip him too hard because, to your point, he hasn't been playing terrible. He's been hitting all right, but I just can't be pleased with his approach at the end of the game with 1 out and immediately swinging and chasing 2 pitches.
That's what he does, though. He's never going to change. He first pitch swings, and his approach is what it is. So when he's hitting home runs with it, we love it. When he's hitting doubles with it, we love it. When he does his things and he hits a walk-off, we love it. But there's definitely failures with it as well. It's clearly a very faulty mindset, but he's never going to change. At this point in his career, he's, 30-something years old. He's in year 5,000 of what it feels like in this contract that he's in right now. His approach is never going to change. It's just never going to change. Now, I don't love it. I don't love the approach, but there's no way you're tweaking Nick Castellanos. I think they tried to tweak Nick Castellanos. It didn't work out, and now they're trying to just say, all right, get back to what makes you comfortable, and we'll sort of live with the highs and lows, and I think that's basically what they're admitting, because trying to tweak it was worse than this. They can at least get something out of this sometimes. The other way, they couldn't get anything out of it ever, so I think that's sort of how the organization is approaching Nick Castellanos.
I mean, their reliever was doing our job for us, walking in runs, giving guys pitches to hit, and he's deciding to swing outside of the zone when the game's on the line.
That's what he does, though. I know, I'm with you. When he fouled off the pitch with the high pitch to foul it back on an 0-2 count. I'm like, the broadcast tries to justify it by saying, hey, at least he's choking up. Well, all right. Whatever. That's your B team. All right, everybody. That's where we're at today. You know, we'll continue to talk about the Fightins, obviously, throughout the next couple of days here, and we have a Boston series coming up, so we'll do that. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.